Thank you for joining me, Eve, my co-host Claire, and our lovely producer Uzma for another episode of Poopology. Today we have another special edition for you. Following on from our Women in Technology episode, I felt it was important to invite some guests from the construction industry. You may or may not know, my own business, Aylaa Exclusive, is an all-female construction company, and I'm passionate about promoting women in construction. As a business, this is one of our core values, and we've done lots of work as ambassadors for women in this industry. So let's start by introductions. So ladies, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Roxandra Ioana. At work I'm called Roxandra, like between friends I'm called Ioana, and here I'm called Ioana.
Because you're amongst friends here.
Yeah, exactly. I am a package manager in construction in facades, like the envelope, the external package. I've just started this role this week actually, and I've been a construction manager for the last 7 months, which is like a site-based role. Yeah, I'm coming from Romania. I've been here for the last 13 years, and I've been working in construction for the last 8 years.
Okay, lovely.
My name is Ursula Novak. I'm a quantity surveyor. I work for a lovely company, MDA Consulting Limited. I have been there for the last almost 2 years. Previously, I've been on another company, but about 3 years ago, I changed my career progression. I used to be at the bank doing development finance, and I believe I've made the right decision, although late in the age, and very happy to be a cost consultant nowadays.
Lovely. You're still young.
Still young, obviously.
Still young.
I'm Andrea. I work for Aylaa Exclusive, and I'm part of E's team. I'm project coordinator, and I just started this role in May.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm brand new to the industry.
Brand new, but extremely helpful.
Good.
You're like my work mother.
I'll take that.
Between work mother and work wife, something like that. I don't know. Something between the two. Right hand
between
woman,
half and half.
Left hand woman.
Both hands.
Sometimes right leg. Depends on the day. So yes, you don't need to introduce yourself, Claire, because
okay.
Because we all know who you are. But actually, in the previous episodes, you have not spoken about your brother in a while.
I didn't, did I?
So I don't know, if you want to do that today, because I think that would be,
I do have a few stories about him.
Okay.
I never mention his name, and the last few episodes I have said a few things about him, so
But he's got his own persona.
my poor brother.
I'm sure this podcast will not be shared with him.
He'd hate it. Which makes it even more pleasurable.
Bring him on then.
Guests one day?
Yeah, special guest soon, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see.
We'll start with the poopy moments of the week, and I'll kick things off. So I'm going to actually do a construction-related poopy moment just to stay in theme. So a couple of years back, I was working on a project, and we were at the utilities stage. So we had all these big ditches all at the front of the property, and I was nicely looking at the facade with my site manager, having a discussion, walking backwards, because obviously everyone knows on a construction site you should walk in a direction you can't see, because health and safety wise that's a very clever thing to do. And as I was taking a step back, pointing at things on the facade and having a heated conversation, I fell into a 3-meter deep ditch backwards. And later on that evening, I was actually meeting Claire and a couple of other girlfriends for dinner. So on the bus, it was obviously extremely hilarious for everyone on site. I remember looking straight up. I could see the sky and the roof. And there was a guy on the roof, obviously working. And he took his phone out and he started taking photos. I was like, what are you doing? He said, this is such a great angle. So I'm sure it's on Facebook somewhere. I might actually even be famous in Romania, So I remember sitting on the bus, covered in, pretty much everything, and texting the girls saying,
I'm running
You
late.
got the bus. You didn't even get a taxi. You took a bus.
I took a bus because I was in the middle of nowhere. No, couldn't get a taxi. I was literally very, very far out. But I remember messaging them saying, I'm going to be late because I fell in a ditch. as you do. And I'm covered in mud, and I got to go home and get changed unless you want me to turn up with poo all over myself.
Now we know why you need the right hand, left hand, and the right leg.
Exactly. And both eyes. And both eyes.
An extra pair of eyes.
So that was my poopy moment.
It was lucky you did go home and get changed because it was a very nice Indian restaurant that we were waiting for you. So my dad is a builder. So for a long time when we were growing up, we used to live on a building site. And my dad was redoing the upstairs area, the upstairs bedrooms. It was still open walls, so there was no gibboard or anything on the walls. It was all very open, and he'd just pulled it all down. And he went out to the store to get some more supplies. And I needed to go to the toilet. So I ran upstairs, ran into the toilet, went to the loo, came back out. And just as I was about to go through the door frame, there was this dead rat. Like, it was huge. We lived at the beach and it was in New Zealand, so there was lots of rodents and things, and it was there. And I thought, where did that come from? Because that was not there when I went through. And it was probably about a month old, and it was disgusting. And it was lying there, and I was so grossed out that I couldn't even jump over it. So I'm just standing in the bedroom waiting for my dad to come home from the supply store. It took at least half an hour, and because this is before mobile phones, and I could hear the front door going. I'm like, Dad! And he comes running up the stairs, going, what's wrong? I'm like, there's a dead rat. There's a dead rat. And he just looked at me like I was a complete idiot. He just picked it up and he just took it. I was like, oh, gross.
Was it actually a dead rat?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was a piece of carpet.
Actual dead rat. And it was disgusting. And my mum came home, and Dad was laughing, and he was telling her about it, and he went and showed her where it was, and she went, oh, it's a lovely colour of grey, isn't it? What is going on here? I was trapped for half an hour in the bedroom. So that was my poopy moment.
Well, mine was I was asked to look after my friend's cat for a couple of days while she went on holiday, and this cat hadn't been out yet. So imagine it was a new cat, had like a week left before it was allowed out. So I somehow managed to lock myself in the house before I was going to work. So the front door wouldn't open. So what I did was I went upstairs and opened the window and was shouting to people on the street to see if they could help me. So I threw the keys. I was looking to see who wouldn't be suspicious, like who would rob and run off with the keys. So I was looking, and I saw this schoolgirl. I thought, okay, she'll do. So I threw the keys to her and said, please, can you try and help me open the front door? In the meantime, while she was helping me, I forgot I left the window open upstairs. And imagine the cat had never been out before. She couldn't let me out. I was still stuck inside the house. I started to panic because I just started a new job as well. I was by this stage hysterical because, oh my God, I can't get out of the house. I've lost the cat because I was screaming looking for this goddamn cat and it wasn't anywhere. At this point, I burst into tears. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. I called my friend. I said, I've lost your cat. She was actually in Spain, and she actually went to the airport to get her ticket and come back because she was so upset. She loved this cat. She was crying. I was crying. She's like, I'm coming back. You have to get the cat. You have to find the cat. Finally, just as she arrives at the airport, who bloody pops out under the bed? The goddamn cat. It was hiding under the bed the whole time, and I was screaming the whole time, Luna, Luna, Luna. She wasn't anywhere to be seen. And just as my friend got to the airport, she popped her head out, and luckily she went back, and she bought her ticket and everything for the flight to come back.
You can invoice the cat. You know?
Yeah, I know. Now I can laugh about it, but at the time it wasn't funny.
Did you actually get out of the house?
I had to, because she has like footlocks in this house with alarms, everything. It was like, you know, when you're do the escape rooms, she's like, okay, this is the key for the back door. Go into my cupboard. On the third drawer down, there's a key. Go and get that key. So I had to go and get that key. Then for the padlock for the back gate, because not only could I not get out into the garden, I couldn't get out of the garden because there's a padlock on her gate. So in the end, I got out, and her friend came for the rest of the night to look after the cat because I said, I'm not staying in your house anymore. I'm done.
She didn't trust you with the cat anymore.
Never mind that. I didn't want to bloody stay in the house anymore. I was like, I'm living in a crazy house with this cat. So I was like, no, I'm gone. So her friend took over, and that's it. Yeah. So we don't mention that ever again. Now I can laugh, but we don't ever discuss that moment ever again. We don't talk about it.
Catgate.
Catgate. Yeah, exactly.
You will
Catgate.
never babysit cat again.
No. Well, not for her anyway. No way.
Well, we're going away soon, and we've got a cat.
At your own risk.
Yes, we might lock you in as well. And the funny thing is, in our house, it's a one-way lock. So if we did lock you in, you can't get out.
Oh my God, no. I'm traumatised for life. That's it.
I can imagine you halfway out the window screaming, oh.
I was.
And she lives nowhere, like in the middle of nowhere.
No,
so there
she
are
lives
no
on a
neighbors.
residential
I mean,
street.
about if, you know.
Oh, you? Oh, God.
No neighbours.
It's like
Really?
a princess in a
Okay.
tower.
Like, hello.
Oh my God,
hello.
no.
You can hear your voice echoing back at you.
I have so many stories. Some of them are very crazy. We have a common friend. I'm not gonna mention her name. She slept overnight at mine. I think it was her birthday, if I'm not wrong. So we haven't slept at all. Like the last hour, I think I slept a little bit, but I had to get up and go to work. She woke up. She was working like nearby my house, and she said to me like, "Oh, I'm running out of battery." And I was like, "Alrighty, you have like a charger in like my room behind the bed." And she charged the phone. I texted her. I said to her, "I left the key on the table to you. You opened the first door, and then the front door like you open it." So what she did, she left the key on the table. She opened the door. She took her shoes on. She shut the door after her, and she got stuck between the doors. And I was at work, and it happened. I think I was in a meeting, and I had to come out of the meeting. Like imagine, like I went like at work,
Because
very
she had
very
her phone,
tired.
didn't she?
Yeah.
She texted me.
Yeah, she like for an hour and a half she was stuck, and it was
between the
very
two
very
doors.
cold also, and there was no radiator like, in between doors there, and she was thinking to smash the window out. And I went back home, I opened the door to her, and then we had like a very nice breakfast together. We went to a local restaurant, and yeah, but that was a funny story.
Yeah, I remember that.
Would you rather it be too hot or too cold?
Too cold.
Yeah.
Too cold. Too cold.
That'd
It's
be like
very
a-
hot in this room right now.
Yeah,
It would
Yeah.
be like a little sweatbox for your friend.
So I will tell you about my construction-related moment. I've taken over a project from a colleague of mine and went for my first meeting. And obviously with my perfect driving skills, I finally find the site, find the parking spot. It was in the middle of nowhere in, if you know, Sittingbourne industrial estate, so it was easy to park. But I still managed to park in the wrong bay. Anyway, I went to the site. I went to the welfare facilities for the meeting room. No one was there, so okay, everyone is late. That's fine. Probably traffic or whatsoever. Made myself a coffee, and someone came in from the side. "What you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I'm for the meeting. Have you signed in?" "No." Couldn't find the book, so he brought the book. I signed in, and I've asked him, "Where is everyone coming?" So like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to check because I'm not aware of any meetings." So I said, "That's fine." So I made myself a coffee. There were a lot of biscuits and chocolates. Like, "Oh, this is really nice. This project gonna go well." So started eating and waiting for like 10 minutes. Nobody turned up. So I started looking at the drawings just to get myself more familiarized with the project as I wasn't involved. And I look at the drawing from, this looks different from what my colleague has sent it to me. So look another the drawing, probably search through paperwork I'm not supposed
I have
to
a
do.
feeling I know where this is
And then the guy came in, so like, "Oh, I don't think the meeting is held today." Like, have I taken the wrong days? It happened to me before. So I asked him, "Is the main contractor?" I'm not gonna name. "No." "Oh, okay, I'm on the wrong side." So then obviously I got to my right side, which was opposite, and everyone was waiting. "Oh, Ursula, finally." I said, "Yeah, sorry." And unfortunately, I told him about my blind moment, and it's been mentioned every single month. But the project is now complete. Successfully.
That's good.
Do they have chocolates and biscuits that you?
Yes, they were really looking after us. I used to have a special box just in front of me to make sure that it's just for me, not to share. So yes, they were looking after everyone.
Okay, I've got one. It's not construction related, but quite a few years ago, me and my friend went out to like a cafe, and it was a self-service cafe. He went to order something, and I sat down. And in my head, because it's self-service, he picked it up. I thought he paid for it. We sat there. We were there for like 5-6 hours, and then after a while, we got up to leave, and we're just walking down the street, and there's someone like screaming behind us. But we're not paying any attention. We wouldn't think it was for us, so we're still walking. And this guy is like running to us in full speed. We apparently left without paying. We were sat there for so long, and I just thought he paid, and he just completely forgot about it. We were so mortified, we literally gave him all the money we had. We did not want to go back and pay with card, and we were giving him as much tips as we possibly could. And I hadn't actually gone back to that cafe for like 5 years until this year. Bit scared. They'll stop me at the door.
Was there a picture of you on
That's
the
what I was
back
about to
wall?
say, a poster.
I was looking about, there was no picture.
Hall of shame.
Wanted. Have you seen this person who ran away from our restaurant without paying?
We didn't pay, just late. After we left.
Okay, that's a good one.
My side, like I was like shocked when I first got my first day at work. I went on site and basically everyone Romanian, all the operatives, and I was like, what the hell? Like it was not like the same on my previous job. I had people from Romania on site, but depending of the packages that they were building, like the concrete guys were like from India, like the fire rating was by people from Bulgaria. We had the FITAL, Polish people. In here, like everyone is Romanian.
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating.
There are quite
but
a lot now sites,
but
and more
70%
Romanian operatives
of them,
coming in.
70% they were from Romania. It's a good thing because I get things done very easy being from the same country, especially that I'm a girl. But
Yeah. But I've had a lot of Romanian contractors. They do a very good job, great finish, and a lot of attention to detail. So, and they work really hard. So,
How do they find with you being a woman?
they actually respect me a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, they can't believe they all call me boss, and I'm like, oh, don't call me boss. I'm not a boss. I have a job like you have. It's just like a different job. You know, you don't have to call me a boss, and you don't have to be scared of me. Some of them, they tend to be a bit scared, like
Right.
intimidated. I don't know.
yeah.
You're just too beautiful, and they can't.
No. They might think that, I don't know, if they do something wrong, I'm gonna yellow card them, you know, or things like that. But no.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. I mean, I've been in the same sort of position before where we've had all Romanian contractors, and they are actually extremely respectful. I think that because, I don't know, maybe in your head you think that they're going to be more chauvinistic, but actually no, I didn't find that at all. They were very
I
respectful.
think it's sometimes when they see someone who is not coming to the site often, like every day.
I was
they-
going every day on site.
Okay.
All day, every day.
Because then what I was trying to say, if you they're only like I would go to the site once a month, so every fortnight depends on my appointment or what is required. But sometimes people know, oh, she's from the bank, or I'm not. Oh, she is from health and safety executive. So it suddenly probably think that someone's coming to inspect what they're doing. And that whether you're a woman or not.
But I found them generally very, because I think a lot of Romanians are actually quite conservative as well. So, they don't smoke on site.
I don't agree.
They don't. Well, that's been
I've got
my
one site, and
experience.
every time I go there, I've already mentioned twice. And last time I went to the site, and the site manager who was about to walk me around, I said, okay. And he started lighting cigarettes. I said, what you doing? You're not allowed to smoke here. And I did tell you before. And next time I see it, I'm gonna report it because obviously it's a huge risk. There are so many flammable materials.
It's a
And
serious
it's a serious issue. If you're not concerned about you, concerned about others.
Yeah. And if you gave him the look that you're giving me right now, I would have put that cigarette out straight away.
Next time I get you cigarettes, and I'm gonna just chuck them away.
It wasn't even. Did you say it was a cigar?
No, cigarettes.
cigarette, A cigar? What kind of builder is
Yeah, you do
One
find
who lives
it.
behind
that? Castro.
And the heart.
I don't see people smoking, they might without us seeing, but they know that we will yellow card, even red card straight away. We do have smoking areas for them, so...
Excuse my ignorance, but what's yellow card, red card? What's that?
Yellow card is for, someone that does something
Like football?
wrong, even
Like
if
football,
you...
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Two yellow cards, yeah.
It's like a little warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a warning.
A first warning.
Yeah.
2 warnings,
And you're
offsite.
out.
Oh, okay.
And you're not allowed to work for that company on any of their sites unless you know
Generally,
someone.
it's health and safety related, though. So, because obviously health and safety is a very serious subject here in the UK, and so much of what you do when you are working on sites is to prepare for health and safety, and the councils are very strict about it. The environmental health can come and visit you at any time. So that's why they have this process, so that if people are regularly not taking notice of what they need to do to keep everyone safe, then you have to remove them.
Oh, okay.
Should be financial penalty, then probably they would learn.
Well, I guess the financial penalty is if you do...
You know, when I
You
was
lose
in
your
Dubai,
job.
I had a trip on Dubai and we went to see a few construction sites. They had a penalty for sleeping on site.
Sleeping?
Yes, so
Who
apparently
sleeps?
it's a big issue in Dubai because obviously when you build a tower with 40, 100 floors and you are on 40, instead of going on break, you need to leave the building, but who cares, you know, you have to climb if you haven't got lift all the 40 floors. Usually they've got like a temporary lift, but you know, display sign everywhere. There is a penalty. I don't remember how much for sleeping on site because they said that it's a big concern because it's quite hot and humid from time to time in Dubai, so it's actually not good for your health.
Yeah.
So there are special welfare facilities for rest.
Yes.
But people were still sleeping. I was walking around, I'm hiding somewhere.
People
Because
sleep
obviously if
clear
you
on
are
site.
between concrete, it's a little bit colder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Construction sites in Dubai are so huge, though, and they have so many hundreds and thousands of people.
Yeah, it was
working
really
on
good
them.
experience.
Yeah.
We went to a building, they were at 42nd floor, and walking up or taking like a horse to get to that floor. Like, where is everyone? You know, there was such a big building, there are no people working. And then we got to this 40-something floor, which wasn't roof, but it was building up. There was tons of rubber in the concrete and about 100 people, one next to each other. So, like, how can you work in these conditions? And everyone was wrapped up.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the safety, I guess the material must have been like cotton or something, but really a lot of respect working in such a heat.
Yeah. It is
And
difficult.
especially when you're dealing with steel, it was so hot for me.
So talking about the sleeping thing, in Japan, it's actually socially acceptable to do that.
What, on a building site?
To have naps at work.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
And the people would work
Napping
and
at
just
work.
sleep by the desk.
Yeah, it's called sleeping while present.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's
Would
the
you like
point
to
in being...
introduce that, Eve?
What's the point in being... No sleeping around here.
Can I have a little nap?
I'm going to get...
So it says here you can. It says here you can doze off in a meeting, at a restaurant, or on the subway.
A meeting. How does that work?
So excuse me, I'm just going to have a nap.
In the middle of a meeting?
That's what it says.
Where does it say that?
Uncle Google says that.
I will not be able to do that. Like
You need to
if
move to
If
Japan.
you miss like 2-3 prepositions from a meeting, you miss the whole meeting basically.
Yeah.
So this is what they call it. I don't know how. I'm not even going to try.
Inamori.
Inamori.
I think it's like if it's socially acceptable and that's normal, then you know, like people just
Does
don't see
seem
it.
strange,
Yeah,
though, doesn't
for
it?
us it's strange because sometimes you don't sleep at all because you've got so much work.
Yeah, true.
You get wired after a while. You're just staring in your eyes. And just like,
Yeah. Especially if you're working on computers, right? With the blue screen. 'Cause
Yes.
that happens to me. If I'm writing emails in bed, I find that after a while I just can't sleep at all. You know, my
Yeah.
sleep is completely like...
get completely
yeah.
wired.
Yeah, exactly. So ladies, you're both relatively senior in the construction industry. So tell me a little bit about your journey to get to here and, you know, some of the trials or tribulations you may have faced, and whether if you feel it was more difficult as a woman in a very, very male orientated role.
You mean the journey to become a quantity surveyor?
Yeah, to become a senior quantity surveyor, I'd like to add. Yeah.
I don't want to be a senior.
It is male-dominated environment, but I will be honest, I always get on better with men rather than women. It's always been, you know, since I was younger, I was kind of tomboy and, you know, climbing the trees and playing football with the guys instead of Barbie dolls. And throughout, you know, my young years, I always had like a good best male friends, not boyfriend, but like getting on. Obviously, I love lady stuff and being treated like a princess. But Yes, sometimes there is challenging being a woman because, especially that I don't look my age, so people perception is that she's just graduated, she's 25 years, not much experience. What does she know? And they think that they can walk over you. So you need to be probably more assertive than a man has to be, I would say.
Okay.
That's probably, can't think of anything else, but we do, as a woman, we do have advantages as well, because you can use your charm, negotiate a good
We're better at
contract price
manipulating.
or
Go on,
variations.
just say it. We're better at
We're
manipulating.
good at manipulating, and in my previous company in Barclays, my friends always said that whatever I ask, I get. And at the moment, I'm the only girl on my floor. So a couple of days ago, I told the guys I'm no longer making coffee. I'm a princess here. I want to be looked after. And it's we have a really good banter at work. So we joke, and probably I can say what I want, and nobody really take it further. And probably it's partially because I'm Polish and the way I am, partially because I'm a woman and the way I am. But no, it's challenging, but I think it also help us because there is this not that many women are interested in construction. Well, let's face it, it's more male interest job.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays men appreciate more that we have an interest, and I've heard a lot of good feedback saying that, female QS are more detailed. One of my clients saying that what I do differently is because I care, so I put the heart into my job, and I think that's helped us to retain and win businesses.
Yeah. So there's definitely a benefit, obviously, to having more women and more balance, I guess.
And let's be honest, what men could do without us, We tell them what to do, and they just need to
do it. They just need to do what we tell them to do. Yeah. How about you?
How did I get in construction? I went to university because I've already studied some back home about technical drawings, and I've actually registered for a different course in here, like IT development, software development. They've sent me a letter that I was accepted to the university, and I refused. I was like, I don't want to stay in an office the whole day, and okay, I like to open a laptop, spend time on High Five. It was a long time ago.
I remember High Five.
Websites. But I don't think I want to And I said I started to look onto UCAS.
Yeah.
And I was like, construction management. And I've applied, and I actually didn't even have because I had to take the IELTS. IELTS is the English exam.
Yeah.
And I passed it. I did not pass the grade my university required. And I remember when I went to the open day, there was one of the tutors there called Sarah. And she said, we don't have the necessary grade, but you know what? You're a girl. We don't have a lot of girls. You're accepted. And
You're in.
Oh, really? Yes.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's really good.
Yeah, that is good.
Yes, and at the end, I think I was the only girl in the class. There was another one, but she was studying something else because she was only studying one module with me, and that's it. But the rest of them, they were boys. And I've done my work placement at the Olympic Games. That was a really nice experience.
Yeah.
That was my first job in construction. I was doing fit-out snagging.
Oh, wow.
And I hated it.
I love you just pointing, this is wrong. You have to correct it.
It did help me though, it opened all my doors.
Yeah.
And I've actually done 6 months. I was paid very a tiny bit amount just for travel and lunch. So
But that sounds like an amazing experience.
yes, it was good. So I was meant to be there for 3 months, and then I stayed for 6 months, and then the summer holidays came, and I was like, bye guys, I don't want to stay here. I just want to enjoy my summer. And after university, I left. I was like, I need some time for myself. I left my house cleaning job. I was working as a house cleaner for the entire university, for the whole years. And I said, I'm going to give up that job. I'm going to go and relax and come back and start applying for jobs. And I came back from the holiday, and I wouldn't get any phone calls back. I did not know, I was changing my CV every day. And one day was a very nice day. It was like July, I think, or June, can't remember. I bought champagne, strawberries, and I was reading a book in the garden, and I got a call. Oh, would you like to be quality manager at the Shard? I was like,
Oh my god!
I was like, I don't think I have the experience. And she said, like, no, you do. I've seen your CV. You obviously have the experience. Would you like to come for an interview tomorrow morning? I was like, well. And I went for the interview.
It was a good champagne.
Yes. And I did not have a lot of responsibility. I looked after the cleaning of the glass externally and after the blinds and the quality of the glass frames internally.
How can you say that's not much responsibility? The whole building is made of glass.
Yeah.
That's a huge responsibility.
That is a huge responsibility.
Yeah, but I was not cleaning it myself.
No. You're managing the team, but that's a massive responsibility.
So
if you were cleaning it yourself, you would still be there cleaning.
So there was a team of upsailers. They were cleaning from like externally, with the like fire ropes, And every day they were coming to me like marking on a drawing what they've cleaned that day, and then I was putting all the information on a spreadsheet, on an Excel spreadsheet, and I was keeping like records on that Excel document, and I was very bored actually. I was so bored. I went to my project.
I worked on the glass in the Shard and I was very bored. Oh my God.
I actually went to my project manager and I said to him like, look, I'm not learning anything. If you're not like giving me more responsibility, I'm just gonna look for another job. And he looked at me, and there was a guy called Bruno. He looked at me, do you want more work? I was like, yes. He started asking me to look into leaks. We had leaks on the balconies. And I did that with one of the like big supervisors that he knew, like he had experience, so I was with him all the time. And after we finished, they told me that they don't need me anymore. Like loads of people, they've been like left to go. I was with agency anyway, so. And after that I worked at the walkie-talkie. That was the best job I've ever worked.
You've basically worked on every iconic thing that's happened in the last 10 years in London.
It was like a very nice project and a very nice company to work for. I'm not gonna name, but everyone knows who he is. I think when you have like a smaller team, like it's better. The ambient is like nicer. You get to know everyone like in a different way. Like when you go to bigger teams, that's when all the business starts. And the company that I work now has a lot of women. We actually have like the project director is a she. She's a very successful woman. I really appreciate her. And I think it was at her request, like, to have more girls involved because, like, we can work the same way.
Yeah, I suspect so. I mean, that's basically what I did, is I wanted to have a all-female team so that we could just provide more opportunities. So now there's 4 of us, but 2 more are joining soon in the next month or so. So there's going to be 6 of us. So
that's really good.
Yeah, I think you have to provide opportunities because I found it quite difficult myself, and I think that I always enjoyed, similar to you, Ursula, I enjoyed working with men more. I studied medical genetics.
Not with Voldo.
I didn't study, construction-related subject, but because it was a science subject, and I went to university in Brunel, which is a very engineering-heavy university. So there was something ridiculous like, 20 guys to every girl on campus. So in my course, I think there was 12 girls out of 250 people on year 1. Oh. And as the course went on, by the end, I think there was like 5 of us or something.
Something similar to what happened to me.
So there was no real, females in my degree. So I naturally befriended a lot of guys. All my best friends were guys. And then in the industries I worked with, I was always surrounded by men. And I went from property to technology to construction. And the ratios are, there's slightly more equality in property. Then as you go into technology, there's less women and slightly more men. But in construction, it's actually quite difficult to find women in construction, is how I
especially on site, working on site. You don't see
working on site or working even on the technical, any of the technical. None of our sort of consultants, whenever we went to consultants' office, would be like, do you have any women in your team? And it's all, the architects.
The architects tends to be more female dominated, or interior designer.
Interior design.
I know a few structural engineers, females.
I have an interesting statistic here. It's from 2016, but it's the most recent one I could find, saying that only 12.8% of women are represented in construction.
Which is very low.
Yeah.
So
It might have
12.8%.
changed in the last 3 years.
I mean, that was from
but,
2016,
but,
so it's a few years ago.
I don't think the percentage will have grown over 20%.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah.
I think it's just girls don't necessarily have interest in building.
But
I remember
think-
when I went for my interviews, I forgot to add how I got into QS. I met someone on a networking event when I was working at
nice.
the bank, David, and we had a coffee chat, just trying to do business. And I said to him, well, I always wanted to be a quantity surveyor, but since I came to UK, obviously, by the time I learned English, still learning, my career went in different path. I used to work at Barclays Development Finance, and since I got to development finance, I realized how much I enjoy being in that field. So I told him I always wanted to be a quantity surveyor. I said, no, we need someone. Let's have a chat. So I went to have a chat. He arranged an interview with his partner, and his partner on the interview asked me, so what do you know about construction? Well, you need bricks to build a house. That's all I know. Just look at me. Well, you can build a house without bricks. There you go. I know nothing. But I got the job, and they invested in me, obviously, and I've learned quickly because if you've got passion, then...
Yeah.
Well, that's something you can't teach.
And that was only 2.5 years ago, and here I am. I'm not interested in drainage or this kind of stuff. It's a dirty work, but actually, nowadays when I'm seeing the progress and going to their site, this is what I enjoy the most,
It is very satisfying.
It is interesting, and every project is different. Every project gives you different challenges. And it's, sometimes when you've got restoration and you see a derelict property and then it's turned into something habitable, amazing, and, and with technology constantly changing, it's just nice to be part of it and driving around London and, I've built that.
Yeah.
Not with my own hands, but I used to say I'm not typical Polish building the house, but I'm a Polish giving money for the houses.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think that sort of women not going into construction can start as early as school and high school, and us not being given the same opportunities? Because I remember being at high school, you need to take cooking and sewing classes.
Yeah.
My friend was doing a research for her dissertation. We studied together at the university, and she was doing research how to encourage children or young girls to go into construction, and she'd done some exercises. Firstly, she'd done some research, obviously, as you said, cooking and sewing and all other stuff. So you don't have any exercises like to encourage them to build, like with the Lego, others. So she done quite few. And I've done, I think that was with Nawick, we've done with the scout groups, with the girls, when we invited few kids, quite a lot of kids, and engaged them in the activities like build the bridges from the straws.
Yeah.
And they were really into it. And I think that's, Claire made a good point that the interest is not really brought to their attention from the early stage. And I think it's changing because it was like a kind of stereotype, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was watching a program, I think it was with Mary Portis, and she was doing this thing with some children in primary school, and she had 3 professions, and it was one of them, I'm pretty sure was a builder, there was a policeman and a fireman, and she asked all the children to draw a picture of all of those 3 people and give them a name, and they all did that. Every single child drew a man, and then she said, now I would like you to meet a real policeman, a real fireman and a real builder, and then walk these 3 women.
But I mean, if you look at it, we have things like Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any cartoon characters or any kind of children's
Eve the
characters? Eve the Builder. Yeah, there isn't, right?
No,
And
He
then,
does have a female companion friend now, but
does he?
yeah.
and then you have things like the name Fireman.
Yeah.
It already suggests it's a man.
Postman,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's been changed to
Firefighter?
Yeah, well, yes. There was an article I've read about being called fireman, and someone pointed that it shouldn't be said fireman or firewoman, but firefighter or whatever.
Yeah,
Fire
I think
resistant.
in terms of children's cartoons, because I've got 3 small children and they're consistently watching them all the time. One of the only ones I've ever seen where it is a character who does lots of different jobs is Peppa Pig, and there is a character in there called Miss Rabbit or Mummy Rabbit or something, and she consistently has loads of different jobs all the time. She helicopter pilot, firefighter, policeman, shop owner, and she's always doing all of these interesting things. And I think that is a great thing to show that she can do loads of different things, and she's a female character.
Have you seen female being a plumber? Would you fancy doing the job?
I actually have girls on site that are working on tools, and I've seen girls like traffic marshals. Talking about this, I was visiting Australia this year in January. All the traffic marshals are girls. I was shocked, but I was so happy. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but I think again it's just about being given that opportunity, and I think it does start at a young age. And,
we need to advertise it properly in schools, especially. We talked about this at work because it's still not the percentage that we will like.
I think it has to be socially more acceptable too. So I mean, I'm quite lucky. My mum is a mechanical engineer. She studied mechanical engineering. She won't like me saying this, but probably over 40 years ago.
Yeah, that was different back then.
When she studied mechanical engineering, it was unheard of to have a woman study this subject and actually be an engineer in the workplace.
She was probably the first ever female mechanical engineer.
Maybe. So she went into a job after she finished. They hired her into a relatively senior role. However, even though she had the job title, because she was a woman, they wouldn't let her go down into because she was in a factory that makes, jet propeller engines. They wouldn't let her go down into the factory area where things are being built to give directions because she was a woman. So instead they told her, you can make coffee, you can take some notes like an administrator. We don't want women going down there. And she's kind of like, but I'm an engineer and you've hired me here as an engineer, so I can't do my job unless I go downstairs and speak to the guys and inspect the machines and, but they didn't want her to do that. She was very lucky because my grandfather was very much promoting women and wanted his daughters to be like men. Do
you think that it might be from like an ancient times, like 100 years ago, and how we are created by the universe, that women are generally weaker physically, not mentally, we're stronger. And a man is a warrior, a knight who needs to look after a woman. So when it comes to the construction side, maybe there is something, that they need to protect. They need to protect your mom to make sure nothing happened to them, and probably didn't know how to deal it because it was uncommon to have a female interested in this kind of stuff. And I think it's naturally we're, born to be slightly different.
Yes, I kind of agree and kind of disagree. I think it is a lot of social sort of thoughts that are embedded in your head. If you feel like a woman can't do this role, then you're not going to, ever be amenable to it. But, yes, we can't maybe lift, stills, but we can certainly do. We can certainly do a lot of other things. There is a lot of, you say, have you ever seen a female plumber? I'm almost a female plumber because the plumbing in our house regularly has broken down over the years, and I've had to get under there and read about pipes and fix them, and Mum's like, I can't believe you're doing this is like proper plumbing, and I'm like, yes, give me the spanner underneath the sink. But it's just, if you feel like you can do something, and you have an interest, you can do it.
Okay.
As long as there's no rodents, I'd be happy to give you some help.
Well, I've seen some men scared of rodents on building sites, so I don't think that's a female problem.
Eve and I were having a bit of a chat earlier, and we were sort of wondering, there are new generations coming into construction. What advice would you give your younger self coming into this industry?
Work hard, stick your nose in everything, don't take the job for granted, It's like you need to work hard to go to the next level. Like, no one will give you a job like for free, or like because you're a girl or you have nice eyes, and you know what I mean. You need to work hard.
That would be your number one advice. Yeah.
Also, you don't necessarily have to go to university. I've done that because I did not have the opportunity, where I did not know from other people that I can go and like work as a volunteer, So just like volunteer for like a summer, and if you work hard and you show your skills, I'm sure sure you will go far as you want.
Oh, I would probably advise myself do it earlier. If it wasn't for someone special to me who encouraged me to actually take that risk, because I was comfortable where I was. I had really good job and good team, and I wasn't looking for change. But I think the opportunity came in, and although in the past I used to work in a state agency before I went to the bank, and I always had an interest in the properties, but I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know whether I could cope. For me, English was a barrier. I didn't know that many construction technology knowledge. And, if I was brave enough, I would just take that risk much earlier, because I think that I find myself in a field that I always wanted to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that if I gave myself advice, I'd say start earlier. And I would have actually studied, jealous of Uzma, I would have probably gone and studied architecture or something like that, and then later on evolved into sort of a construction project manager.
It's never too late, Div. I did it, so you can do it.
7 years. Oh my God, forget that. I'll be like 50 by the time I graduate.
Well, there's quite a lot of mature students. There's students that are older than Mum that I was with.
Yeah,
Mature in mind or body?
I had one of my colleagues, he was 60. He was studying construction management with us. He said he wanted to open his own company back home, like in his country, and he started studying at 60. Why not?
But sometimes it takes 7 to get fully qualified architect. You don't need to, I don't know what's the aspiration. If you want the qualification, then you need to wait that 7 years. But if you've got passion, you probably can be a good architect within shorter period.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can learn and even to do it on the side. If you like something and if you've got passion for it, until you try, you don't really know whether you would enjoy it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would have ended up where I am now in terms of
You're designing anyway.
Yeah, I would have ended up in construction for sure. I wouldn't have stayed as an architect, but I like the entire process. I like the architecture piece, but then I like the engineering. Bizarrely, I like the whole thing, and I like it. I like seeing it all come together. The bit I hate the most is the planning and the bank documentations, Ursula. And generally the bank's QS. Ursula and her colleague Kester are the first bank QSs I have ever liked in my life.
MDA Consulting and Lendlease.
Exactly.
So,
Shameless
Aynar and I were talking earlier, and when you were telling me about the walkie-talkie building, and I was saying that we took the children out into central London, and they love looking at all the trains and everything, and we were pointing out all the buildings, and Harrison, who's the oldest boy, said, what's that building over there? And we said, it's the walkie-talkie building. It's like, oh, that's so cool, Mum. And he went, where's the other one? And I went, what do you mean? And he went, well, walkie-talkie, how can you talk to each other? There's only one.
That's very good.
That's exactly what I said. I'm going to write to my ex-boss and ask him, you should build a second one. Yeah, so they can talk to each other. It should be somewhere near also.
It's actually a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Well, it's logical to him. He has walkie-talkies at home, so that's what they do.
But it was meant to be higher than it is.
Oh, really?
And it was meant to be like you had to pay, but because the St. Paul Cathedral, it was taking the face of the St. Paul Cathedral. The planning application, City of London has only accepted for the building to be smaller and free for all the people who wanted to visit it.
It's nice.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe we should build the second one.
Yeah, why not?
Within range, of course, because the batteries only go so far.
Oh,
Yeah. Can it work with wireless or Bluetooth?
Well, now that there's all these smart home and smart office products and all that sort of stuff, I think it probably could.
And you can build in between
a little string.
That would be a really giant tin can
And then
on
you can
either
zip
side.
wire.
Challenging as well.
And then you can zip wire between the buildings.
Oh my God, you guys, the ideas are getting more and more crazy.
And then how you
Of
can
course,
climb
deep
on,
now.
Yeah, how you can climb on the O2 building.
Yeah.
You can this could be another thing where you zip wire between the two walkie-talkies.
You're so excited about this.
Not that I would do it, but I'm just saying
I will do
there
it.
are
Why
daredevils
not?
out there that would. Yeah, you would.
I'm sure plenty of people would do. I think it's a great idea. You just need to find the site, investors. You've got QS, you've got the cladding lady.
Well, I've got an investor.
You've got the
I've actually
contractor.
got
I can do the
sites
marketing.
up.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There you
we're
go.
done. We're done. So what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, what advice would I give my younger self? The same. Yeah, just work hard, have as much experience as possible, take every opportunity that's thrown at you.
Do you think working hard or working smart is more
A
important?
bit of both, I would say.
Working smart is more important, but it doesn't happen until you work hard.
Yeah, so they come hand in hand.
Yeah, mine would be the same as Ursula. Be brave and take that chance.
Yeah, definitely
You
take a
never know
risk.
what's going to happen.
Life's too short, always take that risk.
So, Uzma, you've been very quiet in the corner there.
What advice would you give to your younger self, Uzma?
She's the young one.
Yeah.
From now on, I'm being brave. I'm gonna work hard so I can be smart.
When you were 5, what would you say to your 5-year-old self?
I don't remember my thoughts from when I was 5, so I can't make a comment on that.
So, Claire, you had an interesting question about diversity.
Yeah, we were talking about unconscious bias.
Yes.
And looking at the construction industry is typically made up of men, and it's very male dominated. And do you think unconscious bias plays a part in the core element of when it comes to designing buildings? So when you go to the toilet and you see the women's toilets designed exactly the same to the men's, do you think?
I think you need to bear in mind a different needs a woman have to male. Have you ever been to male toilet?
Yeah.
Always stinks, you know?
Yeah.
Always stinks.
Yeah.
Not that I go there regularly, but it happens. Just because the female is always busy, but it's always clean, you know, like female needs more time in the bathroom, place to put makeup, so obviously...
I thought you were going to say something else there.
What could you possibly say?
Because you went space to put, so I thought you were going to say space to poop. I don't know why.
Men need that too.
Yeah, so obviously where you've got the washing basins and you need extra space for that makeup, the guy just, wash their hands and go, Sometimes I've seen two women changing. Sometimes I see women taking photos in the bathroom, which I find is always like a bit mad and
Selfies.
awkward.
Yeah, bathroom
and
selfies.
posting on Facebook.
At work.
Have you ever been to...
At work.
No, not at work, but, when you go out and...
Even then it's weird. Why in the bathroom? There are many
And,
other opportunities.
Maybe the lighting's good.
It's usually the lighter, like younger girls would do that, but I always find it like a bit weird. But anyway, maybe that's a new Instagram or whatever it calls Snapchat thing. But so going back to, do you need to take that in consideration? I think definitely we still have different needs.
Yeah, I mean, like men use different toilets anyway. Like
Urinals.
Yeah.
You can say it, urinals. Smell and look ugly.
At the end of the day, you need to understand what, the building or what you're designing, what it is going to be used for and why. And, I've got a house that is the internal layout is being changed. And initially I thought it's being bought by a woman, but now it's a guy because the wardrobe is suddenly twice as big. So which guy has so many clothes, and the proper closet and, double bath and everything. This is a bit different, that's usually what the woman requires. So I think the changes are happening, and I think it's all about understanding, and sometimes you need to be flexible because people have different needs, and it's not like it was 40 years ago or 100 years ago, and going forward it will change probably even more.
So sticking with the toilet theme, years ago when I was working in Wellington in New Zealand, we shared a floor, so we were a service room, so there was about 3 other offices on the floor that we were on. And every time we would go to the ladies' toilets, one cubicle was always shut, and there was always someone in there, and you could hear them breathing. And we used to call them the lurker and the ladies' loo because we just didn't know who this person was, and there was always someone in there. It was weird.
Really weird.
It was weird, and all the other girls were like, was the lurker in there? Was the lurker in the loo? So it was just bizarre.
Maybe someone didn't like work and spend most of the time in the toilet.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I suddenly find you spending a lot of time in the toilet. I'll know why.
Don't you know where I've disappeared?
Andrea's become the lurker. Oh my God, was it you?
I'm looking, I had really taken one photo of toilet site, which was for women and men. I cannot find it, but it was such a good, perfect message. So when I find it, I will show you.
Uzma,
Yeah.
remember when we were in that cafe and you saw that funny toilet sign when we were in Formentera?
Yeah.
What was it?
I think it said something like men are to the left, because women are always right.
Oh yeah. That's one. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was really good one. So
Yeah.
I took a photo.
Oh, was it
and
the same
I
one?
liked it. Yes.
Awesome. See, great minds.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, ladies. I wanna
Thank you.
Thank all
Thank
my
you for having
guests. No problem for making the time to come out here. I'd like to thank everyone, and please join us again for the next episode of Poopology next Monday.
Don't touch the table.
Don't touch anything. You're like a noise-making machine.
I forget.
Yeah, I can't keep still.
It's like perfect sound effects for a coffee
I
advert.
can't keep still.
Can I touch the strawberries?
Can I touch the strawberry? No, don't touch the strawberry.
You're hardcore, man.